The forbidden techniques of the world are all derived from immortal arts. The strength of these forbidden divine abilities varies greatly. For example, some forbidden techniques are modeled after mid-grade immortal arts, and naturally, their power is much stronger than those derived from low-grade immortal arts. In fact, they can be comparable in strength to a general low-grade immortal art. What's more, if one were to derive a forbidden technique from a high-grade immortal art, its power could rival or even exceed that of a low-grade immortal art. In summary, the strength of a forbidden technique depends on the rank of the immortal art it's based on. As for attack-type forbidden techniques, Wang Lin is not lacking. Whether it's Situ Nan's 3 lethal strikes or the first seal of the War God Chariot, these are all his offensive techniques. Additionally, he has the Immortal Sword and Crescent Blade. The Crescent Blade, especially, is a crucial treasure that can catch the enemy off guard, making it a very important part of Wang Lin's arsenal. As for escape-type divine abilities, he also has the Forbidden Teleportation art. Although this technique takes a little time to cast, once activated, its power is extraordinary. When it comes to traveling through the stars, with the Silver Dragon Compass in hand, Wang Lin's speed is second to none. However, all these techniques are designed for cultivators at the Ascendant Realm. Once his cultivation surpasses the Ascendant Realm and he begins to grasp the concepts of yin-yang and virtuality reality, or even comprehends them and reaches the 3 realms of shattered nirvana, both the glimpse of nirvana and pure nirvana will be far beyond what Wang Lin can imagine. Tian Yunzi did not interrupt Wang Lin's contemplation. He quietly watched the void, showing no impatience. This was Wang Lin's first choice, and Tian Yunzi wanted to see what techniques this disciple would select. After a while, Wang Lin raised his head and looked at Tian Yunzi. In a deep voice, he said, "Master, I wish to choose the art of survival." Survival? Tian Yunzi glanced at Wang Lin and smiled. "How do you intend to survive?" Wang Lin's voice was calm as he spoke slowly. "As long as there is a breath of life, one can survive and pursue the great Tao." Tian Yunzi smiled faintly, shaking his head. "Such a technique, I do not possess." Wang Lin remained silent, not saying a word. After a moment of contemplation, Tian Yunzi spoke again. "Fine. The choice is yours, and it depends on your luck. To ask you directly is a low move on my part. Your fate is not something I can inquire about. It comes through opportunities. Now, I will open my heart and reveal to you 3,600 forbidden divine abilities. You may choose as you wish." With that, Tian Yunzi raised his right hand. With unbelievable speed, his fingertip flashed with 7-colored light and pointed at Wang Lin. Wang Lin only felt that with this single gesture, a 7-colored gate seemed to open before his eyes. His body involuntarily flew toward the gate. Gradually, he completely entered this gate. Before Wang Lin, a colorful world unfolded. It was vast and boundless, yet there were 3,600 identical Tian Yunzi figures scattered all around. Some were sitting cross-legged, some meditating, some cultivating, and some battling. The 3,600 Tian Yunzi figures were practicing their own divine abilities in this world. Each divine ability was unique. Wang Lin stood still, quietly observing the Tian Yunzi figures around him. His first glance landed on a Tian Yunzi figure not far from him. This Tian Yunzi stood there, his hands forming mysterious seals, and fierce golden immortal power surged from his hands, roaring out in all directions. A massive vortex formed, slowly spinning, 1 turn, 2 turns. Eventually, it reached the 9th turn effortlessly. In that instant, a wave of astonishing power emanated from the vortex, leaving Wang Lin's mind shaken. This power was immense. 9 revolutions immortal refining art. Wang Lin glanced at it before shifting his gaze to the next scene. At a distance of about 300 meters, another Tian Yunzi was sitting cross-legged, his eyes wide open and flashing with a faint glow. A wisp of black mist continuously spread from his body and gathered above his crown. As more black mist accumulated, it formed a vast cloud above his head. Suddenly, this black cloud began to churn wildly, and in the blink of an eye, it descended, enveloping Tian Yunzi's body. From within came faint sizzling sounds. Then, the black mist moved swiftly, disappearing from Wang Lin's sight in the next instant. Forbidden technique, immortal demon body. Wang Lin's eyes flashed. Time passed slowly. Wang Lin did not rush. He carefully examined the 3,600 forbidden divine abilities. In the distance, a Tian Yunzi in a white robe gazed forward with eyes glowing strangely. He raised his right hand, and instantly, 7-colored light flashed. His pupils turned purple, and the purple light from his hand shot out, vanishing into the void. Wang Lin quietly observed this scene, his heart stirred by the immense power. He had no idea how long he had been here. He had already seen most of the 3,600 divine abilities. However, among them all, the one before him was the most shocking. This divine ability's power was immense. But that's not the main point. The key is that this divine ability takes on a 7-colored hue. It's well known that Tian Yunzi is particularly fond of the 7 colors. A divine ability or forbidden technique that uses 7 colors as an attack would undoubtedly possess immense power. Wang Lin stared for a long time, his gaze flickering before he turned around and left without looking back. In a seemingly inconspicuous part of this 7-colored world, there was an empty space, and in the center of it sat a Tian Yunzi clad in gray robes, cross-legged. There was no fluctuation of immortal power around him. He sat there with his eyes closed, calmly breathing. Wang Lin passed by, giving the area a cursory glance before leaping over it. But just as he was about to clear the space, he suddenly stopped in his tracks and turned back to carefully scrutinize the cross-legged Tian Yunzi. Gray. Tian Yunzi reveres the 7 colors, and 9 colors are considered the most supreme. How can there be gray? Wang Lin's eyes gleamed with suspicion. The more he looked, the brighter the spark in Wang Lin's eyes became. The Tian Yunzi before him looked identical to the one he had seen before, but with Wang Lin's keen observation, he immediately noticed something. It seemed like this Tian Yunzi appeared slightly younger. A younger Tian Yunzi. Wang Lin's gaze flickered, and he decided to sit down cross-legged right there, his eyes never leaving the gray-robed Tian Yunzi. He sat for several days, and during that time, the gray-robed Tian Yunzi remained completely motionless, as if frozen in time. As time passed slowly, Wang Lin remained seated, but the Tian Yunzi did not move even the slightest bit. Strange. Wang Lin's brow furrowed, and after a moment of contemplation, he raised his right hand, slashing through the air. In an instant, a shadowy trail was left behind, and a forbidden seal quickly formed in his hand, taking shape as a black symbol. With a swift motion, Wang Lin slapped the seal, and it shot out like lightning, heading straight for the motionless Tian Yunzi. This was the first time Wang Lin had attacked since arriving here. The forbidden seal howled through the air, piercing right through the gray-robed Tian Yunzi's body without any hindrance. But astonishingly, the gray-robed Tian Yunzi showed no sign of change. He, along with the forbidden seal, vanished. Wang Lin froze, his divine sense sweeping through the surroundings as he searched for any trace of the gray-robed Tian Yunzi, but he found nothing. Odd. Wang Lin frowned, his mind racing. After a brief pause, his divine sense spread out, and his body became a streak of lightning, quickly searching through the 7-colored world. Time passed without Wang Lin knowing how long. One day, as he was flying, he suddenly sensed something and without hesitation, changed direction, flying rapidly to the left. It wasn't long before he halted, spotting a Tian Yunzi sitting cross-legged several hundred feet ahead. He was wearing gray robes. It was the same strange gray figure Wang Lin had been searching for. Wang Lin immediately flew over and stopped 100 feet away. He stared at the gray-robed Tian Yunzi in silence for a long time before snapping open his storage pouch. Instantly, an immortal sword appeared in his hand. Wang Lin's eyes flashed, and without a word, he suddenly slashed downward. The sword light howled as it shot out, accompanied by the flash of a curved blade. The speed of the curved blade was unimaginable. In the blink of an eye, it flashed past the gray-robed Tian Yunzi's chest, but left no wound, as though this person's existence was nothing more than an illusion. The sword light that followed behaved in the same way, slicing right through the body of the gray-robed Tian Yunzi, only to dissipate into the void far away. At that moment, the gray-robed Tian Yunzi suddenly emitted an intense killing intent, so thick it seemed to be rising to the heavens. In the blink of an eye, his killing intent spread in all directions, radiating outward with an incredible force. Far away, all the Tian Yunzi who had been meditating or cultivating immediately stopped their practices. They looked at the source with curiosity. At this moment, every one of the remaining 3,600 Tian Yunzi in the 7-colored world sensed the anomaly. Without hesitation, all of them quickly flew toward the location. In an instant, they appeared within 1,000 miles of the gray-robed Tian Yunzi. Seal. A collective shout echoed from all directions. An unimaginable, mysterious force suddenly descended upon the land, like an invisible net rushing toward the gray-robed Tian Yunzi at the center, attempting to seal him. The gray-robed Tian Yunzi sneered slightly, raised his head, and uttered a single word, scram. At the sound of that word, the heavens and earth changed color, and the invisible net formed by the seal collapsed instantly. A wave of killing intent, unimaginable in its ferocity, spread rapidly, sweeping across 1,000 miles. The 3,600 Tian Yunzi within that 1,000-mile radius were forced to retreat involuntarily, their bodies pushed back thousands of miles within moments. At this point, only a few fleeting shadows of Tian Yunzi remained within the 1,000-mile radius. These were the ones Wang Lin had seen earlier, those who had mastered powerful forbidden divine abilities. Under the onslaught of murderous intent, Wang Lin was immediately drenched in cold sweat. This killing aura was countless times more powerful than his own, like the difference between a bright moon and a firefly, completely incomparable. Previously, Wang Lin had always believed that his own murderous intent was already formidable, but at this moment, he suddenly realized that this gray-clad Tian Yunzi, whose identity was unknown and from some bygone era, was the most terrifying individual he had ever encountered in his life. However, this was not the true source of Wang Lin's shock. What truly rattled his soul was when, just moments ago, the illusory shadows of all the Tian Yunzi in this area drew near. With a sweep of his divine sense, Wang Lin calculated and clearly realized that within a 10,000-mile radius, there were exactly 3,600 Tian Yunzi. Wang Lin's gaze sharply turned to the cold-faced gray-clad Tian Yunzi. He was the 3,601st. One more. Wang Lin took a deep breath. This was the first time he had opened his eyes. His eyes were gray, and when he glanced at Wang Lin, there was no speech, but as his gaze met Wang Lin's, his soul trembled, and it felt as though the sound of thunder, carrying the wrath of the heavens, boomed in his ears. "Don't bother me." Wang Lin's heart quaked, his divine sense disoriented. After a long while, when he regained his focus and looked up, the gray-clad Tian Yunzi had vanished without a trace. Strange. Wang Lin's expression darkened, and after a brief silence, he said nothing. His divine sense suddenly expanded, and he began searching again. This time, he abandoned his attempt to continue analyzing the illusory shadows of the other Tian Yunzi and focused entirely on tracking the strange gray figure. Time passed, and after all his efforts, Wang Lin encountered the gray-clad Tian Yunzi 3 more times. Each time, it was ineffective. The gray-clad Tian Yunzi would flash and vanish without a trace. No matter how Wang Lin searched, he could not find him. Finally, on the 6th time, to be precise, the 6th time was not when Wang Lin found the gray-clad Tian Yunzi, but rather when this figure found Wang Lin. On this day, Wang Lin had given up on searching. He had decided to learn the 7-colored divine technique. This was the technique he found most intriguing after observing it here. He stood quietly beside the Tian Yunzi who was practicing the 7-colored forbidden technique. With a soft sigh, just as he was about to make his decision, a cold voice suddenly blew towards him from behind like a chilling wind. "Are you a disciple of Tianyun?" Wang Lin froze for a moment, then slowly turned around and looked behind him. About 10 paces away stood the gray-clad Tian Yunzi, resembling a ghost. At the same time, the Tian Yunzi who had been practicing the 7-colored divine technique abruptly ceased his cultivation and looked up at the gray-clad figure. But as soon as the gray-clad Tian Yunzi's gaze met his, the practitioner quickly stepped back, clearly showing great caution, and in the blink of an eye, he vanished far away. Wang Lin nodded and said, "That's right. Why have you come here?" The gray-clad Tian Yunzi's voice was still cold. "To choose a forbidden divine ability," Wang Lin replied calmly. "A forbidden divine ability." A faint sneer appeared at the corner of the gray-clad Tian Yunzi's mouth. He then looked at Wang Lin and said, "Given Tianyun's nature, it is rare for him to let anyone come here to choose a technique. The reason he has allowed you to do so might be because of me." Wang Lin's gaze remained calm as he cautiously asked, "Senior, may I know your name?" The gray-clad Tian Yunzi did not answer Wang Lin's question. Instead, he studied Wang Lin carefully for a few moments and said indifferently, "Show me your concept." Wang Lin furrowed his brows, but immediately relaxed. The concept of life and death reincarnation spread from his body, and then, a black and white aura emanated from the top of his head. These two colors quickly merged, and in an instant, they transformed into the scroll of life and death reincarnation. The gray-clad Tian Yunzi's eyes glowed with a rare brilliance, and he nodded slightly, saying, "Attack me." Without a word, Wang Lin raised his right hand. The scroll of life and death reincarnation above his head instantly appeared in his hand. He yanked it open forcefully, and in that moment, it was as if he had seized the very cycle of life and death itself. His gaze turned icy as he stared at the gray-clad Tian Yunzi, softly whispering, "Life and death. Reincarnation. As soon as he spoke, the scroll emitted a surge of gray mist between the black and white landscape, which resembled vast dragons roaring out and charging toward the gray-clad Tian Yunzi. The gray-clad Tian Yunzi's eyes suddenly flashed with gray light, piercing through the distance, directly landing in Wang Lin's eyes. As for the rapidly approaching dragons of gray mist, at that moment, they collapsed silently in front of the Tian Yunzi. The concept of life and death reincarnation. The gray-clad Tian Yunzi fell silent for a moment, glancing at Wang Lin before speaking again. Tianyun sent you here for one purpose, to witness my slaughter immortal art. He wants to see if you have the opportunity for it. The slaughter immortal art is not an immortal technique, but rather derived from an immortal technique of unknown grade. This immortal art, combined with your concept of life and death, matches well. But if you wish to learn my slaughter immortal art, you must agree to do something for me. Wang Lin's expression remained unchanged as he calmly replied, Speak. The slaughter immortal art, strike without leaving any survivors. If you agree, I will teach you. The gray-robed Tian Yunzi's gaze was cold, and he spoke slowly. Wang Lin fell silent for a moment, then smiled slightly and shook his head, saying, I won't learn it. With that, he clasped his hands in a salute and turned to leave. Tian Yunzi's gaze flickered, and with a casual wave of his right hand, a gray mist suddenly appeared. This mist was like a sharp sword, and with a swing, a shrill whistle echoed as the mist shot forward, heading straight for Wang Lin. Wang Lin abruptly turned around, his expression calm, his eyes fixed on Tian Yunzi. In the instant he turned, the gray mist passed him by, rushing towards a phantom body of Tian Yunzi, who was cultivating 1,000 feet away. The phantom body had no power to evade, and the gray mist immediately entered its body. The body trembled and then turned into a cloud of mist, disappearing. At the same time, from the mist, a gray light shot out and landed in front of Tian Yunzi, forming a complex gray seal floating in midair. This mark is the transformation of the slaughter immortal art. It uses slaughter to obtain vitality, which then circulates around the body, creating the seal of life. The more of these seals there are, the stronger the defense. My entire body is protected by billions of seals, so even if the destiny star collapses, I will remain unharmed. This immortal art, won't you learn it? Tian Yunzi said flatly. Wang Lin was silent for a while, then asked, Why must I learn it? Tian Yunzi spoke coldly, You are the 6th person sent by the destiny. I don't like 7, but I have a promise with destiny, so I will teach you. If you hesitate further, this matter will end here. Wang Lin glanced at the man and suddenly asked, What is your relationship with my master? Tian Yunzi stared coldly at Wang Lin, then waved his right hand. A gray mist immediately turned into a jade slip, floating in the air. With a movement, Tian Yunzi vanished without a trace in front of Wang Lin. Wang Lin furrowed his brow, and after a moment, reached out into the void to grab the jade slip. The instant his hand touched the jade slip, the surrounding colorful time seemed to shift, like the turning of stars. Wang Lin blinked, and when his vision cleared, he found himself at the peak of a mountain, beneath a treasure pagoda. In front of him stood Tian Yunzi, his eyes gleaming with strange light. He stared at the jade slip in Wang Lin's hand and, stroking his beard, chuckled, The slaughter immortal art, good. Wang Lin said nothing, his brows slightly furrowed. Tian Yunzi looked at Wang Lin and said with a smile, Do not overthink it. That gray-robed figure was the 2nd incarnation of my younger self. When I divided my yin and yang into 2, due to certain circumstances, I had to separate him. The slaughter immortal art he practiced happens to be exactly the survival method you seek. Wang Lin remained silent, storing the jade slip. He didn't fully believe Tian Yunzi's words, but his thoughts were deep, and his expression showed nothing. He merely nodded. Tian Yunzi waved his right hand, and a purple light materialized into a purple ring. He examined it closely, and then threw it to Wang Lin. This ring is forged from the purple light of my 7-colored radiance. Take it as a life-saving artifact. It can withstand 2 full strikes from a late-stage ascendant cultivator. But remember, every time you break the sect rules, I will take it back. After 2 offenses, it will lose its power. That purple lineage 2nd elder you killed, the reason he fell so easily is because this treasure had already been used once and he violated the sect rules. Otherwise, how could you have taken his soul so easily? But seeing as he struck first and repeatedly provoked you, I will not pursue this matter further. However, Wang Lin, remember, there will be no second time. Wang Lin accepted the ring but did not wear it. Instead, he placed it in his storage pouch and respectfully said, Thank you, Master. Tian Yunzi nodded, flicked his sleeve, and said, "The forbidden technique has been passed, and the artifact has been given. You may leave now." With that, he turned and walked toward the treasure pagoda. Wang Lin took a few steps back, suddenly looking up and saying, "Master, I wish to go down the mountain for training." Tian Yunzi did not turn around. His voice echoed, "For Tian Yun's sect disciples, there is only the path of the emissary. Take my token, go to the Crimson Sect Star Affairs Pavilion, and find a cultivation kingdom of level 6 or below. Serve as an emissary. But remember, on the Red Star Day, 3 months from now, at the Lone Mountain Cape beyond the East Sea, do not be late." With that, Tian Yunzi's figure entered the pagoda and vanished without a trace. Suddenly, a white token flew out from the pagoda and landed in Wang Lin's hand. At the same time, a gentle force radiated from the pagoda, propelling Wang Lin's body, causing him to fly off the peak. 100 miles away, Wang Lin was suspended in midair. He glanced back at the 3 mountains, the white one, the black one, and the third, and his eyes flickered with a strange gleam before he quickly turned and left. The Star Affairs Pavilion, above the Crimson Sect. After leaving the Heavenly Fate Sect's main sect, Wang Lin didn't stop for a moment and made his way directly to the Crimson Sect. At the Crimson Sect's mountain peak, red halos spread out in circles, constantly expanding, enveloping everything in a sea of blood-like hue. Wang Lin's figure broke through the outer barrier of the Crimson Sect, just as he was about to step in when a cold voice rang out from within. "Stop right there." Without a word, Wang Lin threw the white token of Tian Yunzi forward. His figure followed the token as he charged into the Crimson Sect. The person who had shouted coldly clearly saw the token, snorted lightly, but didn't stop him, allowing Wang Lin to enter without interference. As soon as Wang Lin stepped inside, the air rippled, and a middle-aged man in red clothes appeared, his figure flickering. He coldly scanned the direction in which Wang Lin disappeared, muttering to himself, "7th Patriarch of the Purple Lineage." A short while later, Wang Lin left the Crimson Sect and gazed westward. The 5th-level cultivation nation, Spirit Mountain Nation. It could even be said that among the 7-level cultivation nations, Tian Yun's star was absolutely top tier, because on this star, there was a person named Tian Yunzi. Tian Yunzi was considered a supreme being of his generation, and even within the Cultivation Alliance, he held a position of respect. Few dared to provoke him. A 7-level cultivation star often possesses numerous 6th-level cultivation stars as subordinate entities to strengthen its power. However, this was not the case with Tian Yun's star. The entire Tian Yun star was surrounded by only 5 satellite stars, all 6th-level cultivation stars, named Heaven, Earth, Man, Destiny, and Fate. Large teleportation arrays connected these 5 satellite stars to the main Tian Yun star. However, using them required a substantial amount of spirit stones, making them unaffordable for most cultivators. Around Tian Yun's star, aside from the 5 satellite stars, there were numerous smaller stars, each housing the caves of famous old monsters. Even the teleportation arrays connected to these stars were usually sealed shut and rarely opened. At the far east of Tian Yun's star, there stood a massive teleportation array. This array was controlled by the Tian Yun sect, with someone stationed there year-round. Zhao Si was one of those stationed there. Today was his shift, and he had long since seated himself in meditation outside the array. Zhao Si was a 5th-generation disciple of the Green sect of Tian Yun's sect, having cultivated for over 700 years. His cultivation had now reached the mid-spirit transformation stage. He felt a sense of satisfaction, knowing that as a disciple of Tian Yun's sect, his name alone commanded respect wherever he went on Tian Yun's star. Sitting cross-legged, Zhao Si opened his eyes and exhaled deeply. "In 3 months, someone will come to relieve me. I'll return to the sect and retreat for several years, striving to reach the late spirit transformation stage. Once I reach that stage, I'll apply for an external training opportunity. Maybe I'll gather some immortal jade. Who knows, perhaps I'll even undergo infant metamorphosis in this lifetime." A glint of longing flashed in Zhao Si's eyes. "Unfortunately, I don't have enough luck. If I were chosen as a disciple by the primordial ancestor like some of the other patriarchs, none of this would be a problem. I, Zhao Si, have always dreamed of becoming a peak powerhouse, establishing my own star mansion and ruling over it. Wouldn't that be the happiest thing in the world?" Zhao Si sighed bitterly, inhaled deeply, and was about to continue his breathing exercises when suddenly, a long rainbow appeared in the distance, a purple streak like a shooting star, whistling toward him. The sound of breaking air thundered in the sky, and in the blink of an eye, the meteor-like figure came within 1,000 feet. Zhao Ci's expression turned serious, but he didn't rise to his feet. Instead, he coldly observed. People using the teleportation array were common, and aside from some major figures, Zhao Ci didn't consider anyone, even those with higher cultivation than him, to be a threat. After all, he was a disciple of Tianyun's sect. At this moment, just as the morning sun began to rise, the speed of the meteor-like figure gradually slowed. Zhao Ci finally saw the person's appearance. This person had long hair casually tied back and wore purple robes. Stepping through the void with ease, the person arrived in front of Zhao Ci within moments. The figure halted, coldly looking at Zhao Ci. Zhao Ci's gaze was drawn to the purple token hanging from the person's waist, on which was clearly engraved the number 7. The instant Zhao Ci saw the token, his body trembled, and without hesitation, he stood up at lightning speed, bowing respectfully as he spoke. Zhao Ci, 5th-generation disciple of the Green Sect, respectfully greets the 7th patriarch of the purple lineage. At this moment, Zhao Ci was extremely respectful, but inwardly, his heart raced. He had heard many rumors about the primordial ancestor's birthday celebration, which he wasn't qualified to attend. However, from the disciples who had participated, he had heard a lot of gossip. Among those rumors, the most talked about was that the primordial ancestor, Tianyunzi, had recently taken in a new disciple, the 7th patriarch of the purple lineage, Wang Lin. Wang Lin, upon entering the sect, immediately caused a great uproar in the entire purple lineage, eventually cruelly killing his second senior brother. During the Grand Ancestor's birthday celebration, he even participated in the fierce competition for the titles of the 7 children of heavenly destiny. With his cultivation at the mid-infant metamorphosis stage, he fought fiercely against the 4th elder of the purple lineage, who was at the late infant metamorphosis stage, and ultimately emerged victorious. However, this is not the key point of the story. The key moment came when, just as Wang Lin won, the 6th elder of the purple lineage, who had the strength to challenge the highest realm, suddenly returned. A great battle then erupted. Though Wang Lin lost this battle, he instantly became a vastly different figure in the eyes of all the disciples of the Tianyun sect. The 3 lethal strikes became his signature divine ability, especially the devastating strike that unleashed a torrent of demonic energy, which further enhanced his intimidating presence. These rumors, passed through countless mouths, eventually reached Zhao Ci. By the time they did, Wang Lin had already transformed into a bloodthirsty demon cultivator in Zhao Ci's eyes. His temper was violent, and at the slightest provocation, he would kill without hesitation. Activate the array, head to Earthstar. Wang Lin spoke calmly, stepping forward and leaping over Zhao Ci, directly entering the teleportation array. Earlier, while suspended in the air, he had observed the array. This formation covered a vast area of nearly 10 miles, etched with countless complex runes. A tremendous force emanated from it, spreading out like a wave, creating an almost impenetrable mist that obscured everything from view. The ground within this 10-mile radius was crisscrossed with numerous ravines, resembling the tributaries of a river leading into the sea. These ravines, dense and endless, flowed with an unseen, strange power. To Wang Lin, this teleportation array no longer seemed like a simple formation. It felt more like an ancient beast, brimming with a powerful vitality. The complexity of this array surpassed any teleportation formation Wang Lin had ever encountered before. Zhao Ci took a deep breath, quickly nodded respectfully, and hurried over to the array. With a swift gesture, he formed a hand seal and released a beam of green light that entered the array. As soon as the green light touched the array, a loud rumble echoed through the air. The sound grew more intense, and soon it felt as if the very heavens and earth were shaking. On the ground within 10 miles, the intricate ravines began to glow with eerie light as the strange, invisible force spread, slowly manifesting into ethereal radiance. From above, one could clearly see that the teleportation array had formed a huge symbol made of intertwined ethereal lights. This symbol spanned the entire 10-mile area, its complexity beyond imagination. At this moment, Wang Lin stood at the very center of this symbol. In the blink of an eye, this enormous symbol suddenly emitted a blinding light, engulfing the sky and earth. In that instant, everything around was bathed in a ghostly glow. Zhao Ci, clearly accustomed to such events, closed his eyes as soon as the array was activated. He silently counted 5 breaths, then opened his eyes again. The array was now empty, and everything around it had returned to normal. Only the scattered ethereal lights, resembling fireflies, slowly drifted down and merged back into the ground. Zhao Si cast a wistful glance at the empty array and muttered to himself, I wonder what the seventh patriarch of the purple lineage, Wang Lin, is doing on Earthstar. But it has nothing to do with me. I should focus on my own cultivation and strive to reach the late spirit transformation stage as soon as possible. Shaking his head, Zhao Si crossed his legs and began meditating again. Earthstar is one of the 5 satellite stars surrounding the Destiny Star. From the outside, it appears a dull yellow with countless halos swirling above it. Its size is similar to that of Vermilion Bird Star. The Profound Abyss sect, located on Earthstar, is the only 6th-level cultivation country on this planet. The sect is vast, and its many cultivators, including its ancestor Xianming, are incredibly powerful, with Xianming's cultivation having surpassed the peak of the highest realms. Earthstar has few oceans and is mostly land. To the west of the Profound Abyss sect, 1,000,000 miles away, lies the 5th-level Spirit Mountain Nation. On this day, near the teleportation array of the Profound Abyss sect, a vast area had been cleared. For miles around, only disciples of the Profound Abyss sect could be seen, with no other cultivators present. Standing quietly outside the array was Su Yushan, the lesser sect master of the Profound Abyss sect. In his hand, he lightly tapped a jade fan, lost in thought. 3 days earlier, he had learned from a friend in the Tianyun sect that a disciple from the purple lineage would be arriving on Earthstar as an envoy to Spirit Mountain Nation. Initially, Su Yushan did not think much of it. But when he discovered that the person coming was Wang Lin, the 7th disciple of the purple lineage and a newly accepted disciple of Tianyunzi, his interest was immediately piqued. As a subsidiary sect of the Destiny Star, the Profound Abyss sect keeps very detailed records on each disciple of Tianyunzi. They know all of their likes and dislikes. However, their focus is on those with the title of the 7 Children of Heavenly Destiny. As for Wang Lin, unless he had been so strikingly noticeable during Tianyunzi's grand birthday celebration, they wouldn't have paid him much attention. At present, Wang Lin has emerged out of nowhere, and the Profound Abyss sect knows very little about him. However, from their perspective, Wang Lin has great potential for the future. It's better to befriend him now than later, which is why they have arranged today's meeting. Behind Su Yunshan stood several individuals, all elderly with white hair. They were elders of the Profound Abyss sect, each with formidable cultivation. As time passed, it wasn't until midday, under the scorching sun, that suddenly, a series of rumbling noises erupted from the teleportation array. The sound immediately caught Su Yunshan's attention. With a smile, he put away his precious fan and looked at the array. The rumbling grew louder and louder, until finally, a series of ghostly lights rose from the ground, enveloping the skies and forming a large, illusory symbol. At the center of the symbol, after a slight spatial distortion, a figure gradually emerged. This person was dressed in purple, and on his waist, a purple token was engraved with the character 7. Su Yunshan's gaze sharpened, and then he chuckled and stepped forward. With cupped fists, he said, "Are you Wang Lin, disciple of Tianyunzi?" Wang Lin remained calm and cupped his fists in return. "Yes, I am Wang Lin. May I ask who you are?" Su Yunshan smiled and said, "I am Su Yushan, the lesser sect master of the Profound Abyss sect of Earthstar. I've heard of Brother Wang's arrival, so I rushed here to extend my hospitality. Please, don't refuse." "Then I'll accept your kindness, Su brother." Wang Lin smiled faintly. Su Yunshan's cultivation, like his own, was in the mid-infant metamorphosis stage. His reason for leaving Tianyun sect was to find a peaceful place to focus on his cultivation. The Tianyun sect was full of internal disputes, which wasn't suitable for cultivation. Now that he had arrived on Earthstar, it wouldn't be good to directly reject someone. Su Yunshan was charming and witty as he spoke about the matters of Earthstar. He arranged a quiet place for Wang Lin within the Profound Abyss sect. After agreeing to meet again tomorrow, Su Yunshan took his leave. The environment was extremely serene, and the surrounding area was peaceful. Wang Lin stood in the house, opened the window, and looked out. In the garden outside, vibrant flowers bloomed, competing with each other in their beauty. Wang Lin pushed open the door and leisurely strolled through the garden. "The most important thing now is to improve my cultivation. Though I've been away from Vermilion Bird Star for many years, Tua Sin is still like a sword hanging over me. Who knows when he'll emerge from the ancient God's land? When that happens, he'll definitely come after me." Wang Lin's brow furrowed. The matter of Tua Sin had been a thorn in his side, like an invisible whip driving him to continue cultivating, as only by doing so could he survive. Gazing at the flowers in the garden, Wang Lin's eyes showed a hint of deep thought. The slaughter immortal art. I've researched it a little along the way. It truly has its intricacies. With the seal of life protecting the body, it can provide significant defense. The heavenly reversal pearl is still missing the metal attribute to be complete. This issue must be addressed soon. Xun'er once said that he analyzed that only when the 5 elements are perfected will the heavenly reversal recognize its master, and only then will its true power be revealed. But I wonder, what kind of divine ability does this heavenly reversal possess that would make people from the Cultivation Alliance scramble to seize it? I wonder how Vermilion Birdstar is doing right now. Wang Lin raised his head, his gaze seemingly piercing through the void, reaching the distant Vermilion Birdstar. After staying in the Profound Abyss sect for 2 days, Xun'er escorted Wang Lin to the 5th-level cultivation country, Spirit Mountain Nation. During these 2 days, Xun'er had been very pleasant to converse with, and through their interactions, Wang Lin found them quite congenial. The Spirit Mountain Nation had long known that the Tianyun sect had sent a direct disciple of the Purple lineage to serve as an envoy, and it immediately made this matter a top priority. All the sects within the country had prepared for this, eagerly awaiting the envoy's arrival. At the border of Spirit Mountain Nation, Xun'er smiled slightly and spoke as they flew. Brother Wang, this is the 5th-level cultivation country, Spirit Mountain Nation. It may not be large, with only 4 sects, but it's famous for its spirit attuning items. Even on Earthstar, it's well known. Wang Lin nodded. The two moved quickly, crossing the border and heading straight for Spirit Mountain Nation. At the center of the nation, there stood a massive celestial tower. This was where envoys had always resided. Outside the tower, hundreds of cultivators stood in neat rows, waiting for the arrival of the envoy. Before long, 2 streaks of light shot through the sky, accompanied by the sound of breaking air. The crowd under the tower immediately looked up. As the 2 streaks of light approached, the cultivators below the tower immediately bowed and respectfully called out, "The cultivators of the 5th-level cultivation country, Spirit Mountain Nation, pay their respects to the envoy, and to the lesser sect master of the Profound Abyss sect." Xun'er's voice echoed with a hearty laugh, gradually fading as he spoke. "Brother Wang, I must take my leave now. If time permits in the future, you and I will have another drink and talk." With that, Xun'er's figure flickered, and he sped off toward the distant thunder. Once Xun'er left, the sky above was left with only Wang Lin. Suspended in midair, Wang Lin's gaze swept around calmly. Among the hundreds of cultivators present, the highest ranked were over a dozen, all of whom had reached the late infant metamorphosis stage, with some nearing perfection. The others were slightly weaker. Among them, one person caught Wang Lin's attention. This individual had white hair and appeared extremely ancient. His cultivation was the highest among the group, almost stepping into the realm of ascendancy. Wang Lin slowly descended and stood beneath the treasure pagoda. Without waiting for the cultivators around him to speak, he calmly stated, "Though I am an envoy, I do not involve myself in your affairs. Continue as you have, but from today onward, no one is allowed to enter within a radius of 10,000 miles. I will enter closed-door cultivation." The surrounding cultivators were momentarily stunned, but they were experienced and cunning, quickly masking their surprise. After a brief silence, they all respectfully acknowledged his words and dispersed. The elder, who was almost stepping into the realm of ascendancy, scrutinized Wang Lin for a moment before turning to leave. Many of the cultivators beside him hurriedly followed, and in an instant, the area beneath the treasure pagoda was left empty, with no one remaining except Wang Lin. Wang Lin's expression remained unchanged as he flicked his sleeve and walked into the celestial tower. Inside, he sat cross-legged. He slapped his storage pouch, and instantly, the forbidden banner appeared in his hand. With a flick, it transformed into countless black mists, rushing out of the banner and spreading throughout the 10,000 miles around the tower. In an instant, the entire area seemed enveloped in a black fog, giving off a dark and ominous feeling. After completing this, Wang Lin pondered for a moment, then pressed his right hand to his forehead. He opened his mouth and released a 3-meter-long banner from his mouth. The soul banner, although its soul had suffered great damage, still retained a few remnants of the main soul. With a shake of the banner, except for the Kirin spirit, all other main souls were released and merged into the black fog created by the restriction, serving as a defense. After this, Wang Lin took a deep breath, flipped his hand, and a jade slip appeared in his palm. The jade slip was gray and had been given to him by the gray-clad Tianyunzi. It contained the Slaughter Sword art. Slaughter Sword art. Wang Lin's eyes flickered as his divine sense immediately swept across the jade slip. Time passed slowly, and a month soon slipped by. During this month, several sects in the Spirit Mountain Nation were puzzled by the new envoy. In the past, new envoys always demanded large amounts of spirit stones and immortal jade, and to avoid trouble, the various sects would usually give something. This had almost become a routine. But now, this envoy from Destiny Star, reportedly a disciple of the senior Tian Yunzi, had been here for a month and hadn't taken a single step outside. Furthermore, the area within a 10,000-mile radius was covered in black fog, making it dangerous for ordinary people to enter. Even some of the cultivators at the infant metamorphosis stage attempted to enter, but had to turn back after only a few dozen paces, their faces pale and distressed. Gradually, the mysterious figure of the new envoy began to intrigue the cultivators of Spirit Mountain Nation. Inside the Celestial Tower, Wang remained seated, unchanged from a month ago. During this time, all his focus had been dedicated to the gray jade slip. The slaughter sword art contained in the jade slip was, in fact, a seal of life. This seal contained a unique divine ability, and comprehending it was far from simple. Wang, whose talent was not the best, found the understanding of the slaughter sword art particularly difficult. For now, he could only slowly and carefully ponder over it, gradually mastering it. He knew that this was something that couldn't be rushed. As time continued to pass, half a month later, the curiosity of the cultivators in Spirit Mountain Nation about the new envoy only grew stronger. This was because, unlike the previous calm, the black mist in the Celestial Tower had begun to change. Over the past half-month, strange howling noises had emerged from within, as if countless flying swords were rapidly traversing through the mist. Occasionally, there were earth-shattering roars, shocking the entire land. This caused the cultivators of Spirit Mountain Nation to grow even more curious. The nation's top cultivator, the elder who was nearly in the realm of ascendancy, finally stood up after several days and made his way to the Celestial Tower. 3 days later, the elder returned with an extremely grim expression and shock in his eyes. After his return, messages were immediately sent throughout the sects, warning all disciples not to enter the Celestial Tower's 10,000-mile radius. Any who defied this order would be treated as rebels. From then on, the area surrounding the Celestial Tower became a forbidden zone in Spirit Mountain Nation. For a month and a half, Wang had been researching the slaughter immortal art. This technique was entirely based on killings. The more people he killed, the stronger the seal of life would become. When it reached a certain level, the seal of life would transform into the most indestructible defense in the world. However, this divine ability was incredibly difficult to cultivate. After a month and a half, Wang had still failed to grasp the essence of the slaughter immortal art. Eventually, he gave up on further research and decided to focus on comprehending the heavenly Tao, continually refining his own magical techniques. During this time, the Divine Chariot experienced a backlash. This was the first time the Divine Chariot had backfired since the first seal was unlocked. Wang had long been prepared for this, and after battling the Beast of Submission for several days, he used a secret technique to suppress the beast, causing the backlash to fail. At this moment, the Elder from Spirit Mountain Nation entered the Celestial Tower's 10,000-mile radius and even personally witnessed the indomitable beast. After suppressing the Divine Chariot, Wang sat quietly in meditation for several days. One day, he suddenly opened his eyes, and a moment of realization flashed in them. The slaughter immortal art is all about comprehending through killings. My illusionary transformation lacks a certain vitality. To truly master this path, everything should start with killings. Wang's gaze flashed, and he stood up. With a single step forward, he vanished, leaving the Celestial Tower.